Well, here we are, folks. The last show of this week, because after tonight we won't be back until Sunday night at 7:35. We've got a lot going on tonight, from rain to thunderstorms to a snowstorm over the Midwest. We will talk about all of this and get into the rest of the Thanksgiving Day holiday weather and the weekend, and that is coming up right here on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support if you'd like by shopping Amazon via our referral link. It doesn't cost you anything. Just use the link to get you to Amazon to do your shopping, and Amazon will throw us some coin for sending you there. And it's a easy, quick way to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast because it keeps us from running commercials during the live version. So we appreciate very much those of you, and we are thankful very much for those of you who have used the Amazon link. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. Great weather station. I have one. Runs off your mobile device. You could get a display with it too if you want to have something up in your office or in your kitchen or wherever you'd like to put it. The link for this tonight is on the top of the chat board. It's also on the description of this podcast. And there's a special coupon code, Joe Rayo.
That's right. And the coupon code is Autumn 2025. And while I should say, Joe, it will not feel like autumn tomorrow because temperatures are going to be quite mild, up near 60 degrees, it will feel definitely autumn-like on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and maybe even a touch of winter in the air on Friday with the combination of blustery winds and temperatures that'll be struggling maybe to only get to near 40 degrees. So some changes in the air coming weather-wise over the next 2 or 3 days.
Did you give him the coupon code?
Yes, autumn 2025.
Oh, and if you do, you will use the coupon code you get.
You get something. Oh, yes, get 10% off.
Yes, indeed. So also a reminder, folks, that on Sunday, let me just bring this back for a moment here. We do really high-tech stuff here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. If you missed it, we had Don Colgan on last week with his book, History of Winter Storms of New Jersey. And Sunday night, we are going to have Ben River, the author of the book Angel of the Storm. Ben has his Ben's Angry Weather Facebook page and runs one of my websites for me, nycweathernow.com. So join us when you come back on Sunday. We're going to have Ben talking about his book, and both books are available via Amazon. So there you go. All right, busy night tonight for we haven't had many busy nights like this, but we're starting to get to that time of year where there's stuff going on, all sort of tied to each other. The same systems causing different things in different places. You've got rain. I've got heavy rain going on now. It's banging on my roof. And we've got a snowstorm up in the upper Midwest.
It's really not a snowstorm, more like blizzard conditions for parts of Minnesota, for example. And when we get into Thanksgiving Day on Thursday, it looks like it's going to be rather damp. Rather chilly, rather windy. And we may also find some. Somebody just pointed out to me that my YouTube says owner.
Yes, I noticed that yesterday. You must have not given your computer a name that Zoom will read.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I guess we'll have to fix that, won't we? So we're going to see lake effect snows on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, predominating over much of northeastern Ohio and also the western part of New York State. And also, I might add, Joe, not just Minnesota, but also Wisconsin will be in line for some heavy-duty snows. So we'll be looking at that on the radar in just a little bit.
Yes, we will. So why don't we get going here tonight? Welcome to everybody on the chat board and those of you watching in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. However, we mentioned yesterday schedule changes, so after tonight we're going to be off for the next few days for the Thanksgiving Day holiday, and we certainly extend our best wishes to everybody to have a happy and a wonderful Thanksgiving with friends and family. So after tonight, we won't be back until Sunday night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So here's the watches and warnings that are up, and we have first off, we've got. Why are you screen sharing? Are you screen
Why
sharing?
my screen?
Oh no, no, never.
I'm
You're loading up. I'm sorry. No, don't ignore me. I'm sorry. Just forget I said that. I I just kind of spaced out for a minute. You've got your radars loaded and ready to go. I guess that just shocked me, but whatever. We've got winter storm warnings up for virtually the whole state of Minnesota except the northernmost part. Blizzard warnings in northeast South Dakota. Winter storm warnings for southeast North Dakota. Winter storm warnings for northern Wisconsin, with the exception of 5 counties near the lakefront, or 4 counties. I think it's 4 counties. They're under a blizzard warning there, as well as the upper peninsula of Michigan and the western side of the lower peninsula of Michigan under winter storm warnings. Blizzard warnings right along the lakefront on the upper peninsula. In northwest Pennsylvania, southwest New York, north central New York, we have lake effect snow warnings up as we set up for what could be a sizable lake effect event. And in and around the Buffalo area, at least for now, they have winter weather advisories. And I'm just going to bring up the snow forecast here. This is through Friday evening. And the bulk of the lake effect is probably going to happen later Thursday night into Friday. But we are talking about a foot to a foot and a half in northwest Pennsylvania and into southwestern New York State, a little bit less around Buffalo, and not much between Buffalo and Rochester. Then it picks up again as you get into central New York, particularly near Syracuse and points northward, where we'll have anywhere from, at least for now, through Friday evening, 8 to 12 inches being forecast. And meanwhile, if we go back westward, the Weather Service offices here all juiced up their snow amounts and actually pushed them further south. Minneapolis was only forecasting 2 yesterday. Now they're going for 6. We have 1 foot to 2 foot plus amounts in that area with the blizzard warning in northern Wisconsin and in the northern areas of the upper peninsula of Michigan. Also, some sizable snows on the west side of the lower peninsula on the order of, let's say, 4 to 8, I think is probably fair, with some 1 foot amounts possible. Get down to Chicago, not much. You get down to Milwaukee, not much. Madison, about an inch. Grand Rapids, about 3. Lansing, an inch. Detroit, an inch. But still a very, fairly sizable snowfall that extends back into North Dakota. Some of what you see out to the west has come to an end, which we'll take a look on the radars. Joe's going to be taking us around in a moment. Here's a satellite loop, which has a couple of missing frames in it, so just bear with me, folks. No images are produced for this view. Okay, that was nice. It's my own fault. I had a loop going, and I went back and refreshed it to get it some fresh shots, and gone. All right, there's your radar. And there's 2 storm systems here, folks. The lead system is bringing the rain into the northeast. We've got showers and storms running around from western northeastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, down into Georgia, and then all the way down south to Mobile in Alabama. And of course, you see the hook there on the radar loop. So we've got a fairly intense upper air feature that's producing some heavy snows already into parts of western Wisconsin and on up into Minnesota. But let's go to Mr. Rayo, who's going to start us out first with the I believe that's that the Upton radar you got up there.
Yes, it's the Upton radar that
Uh,
I'm going to be showing. We're leading off with first.
Before you do that, hold on a second.
Yes. Yes.
Just a moment. I'm going to see if I can fix this if it's on my end. Um, Okay, that didn't quite work. Very good. Thank you. I was going to see if I could fix it. No, because you've centered the picture, so go ahead.
Okay, so we'll start off with the immediate New York City metropolitan area. We got away much of the day today with dry weather, clouds. We even had some dim sun from time to time, but sometime along about 3:30 or 4 o'clock, it started to rain lightly, at least in parts of the lower Hudson Valley. It probably was raining earlier than that down across portions of northern New Jersey, New York City, and western Long Island. But as you can see here on the radar, much of the area now is embedded in, I would say, light to maybe even moderate rain, and that's going to be the story for much of the overnight hours tonight. Actually, it looks like the heaviest and steadiest rains are going to be hitting us during the first half of the night tonight, and then as we move into the after midnight hours, the rains will begin to peter off or diminish some. Now, I told this to both of my kids, my daughter-in-law and also my son, who are teachers, and they get up at the crack of dawn and head on out on the roads to work. I told them, I said, tomorrow morning, don't be surprised if you have some thick patches of fog to deal with, because the air is going to be warming up overnight tonight. Temperatures, which right now I guess are in the upper 40s or near 50, they're going to slowly rise after midnight as milder air begins to push in. Now, tomorrow, interesting day, we're going to be in a wedge of unseasonably mild air. There may still be a few lingering showers around, but I'll tell you, the final thrust, if you will, of showery rains, and there may even be a rumble of thunder accompanying this, will be with the cold front that'll be ushering in the colder airflow for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. That will be heading our way for later tomorrow and into tomorrow evening. And then after that, skies should clear tomorrow night. The winds will pick up. It'll turn noticeably colder. 60 degrees, that's not out of the question tomorrow. But as we get into Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, probably mid 40s, low 40s, gusty winds making it feel like it's in the lower 30s, and even stronger winds expected tomorrow night into Friday, and in fact, Thursday night into Friday, and in fact, temperatures on Friday may struggle just to make it to above 40. So, a bit of a mild day tomorrow, and then some really colder air coming in for Thursday and for the end of the week on Friday. So there you see the wet weather here in the New York metropolitan area. That will be with us again through the overnight, although the main batch will be before midnight tonight. Just quickly a look at Boston's radar, and you can see that in Boston they're still dry, but this rain that is currently over New York is advancing toward Beantown. And yeah, Beantown, Boston just got into it just a little while ago, and they will have wet weather again through much of the overnight hours tonight as well. If we go further south, let's say down to Dover Air Force Base and Ellendale in Delaware, you can see here there looks like there's a moderate burst of rain that is coming in, crossing through southeastern Pennsylvania, just north of Delaware, heading for central New Jersey. But notice, if you will, behind it, there really isn't all that much in terms of showers. It looked like it almost is shutting off a bit. So again, the first half of tonight will be wet, and then the second half of the night will be just a few widely scattered showers. Here's Washington, Sterling, Virginia, and as you can see, most of the heavy-duty rain heading to the northeast, and then in the wake of all of this, just a few spot showers, and that's basically what we'll be looking at here after midnight, and again during the first part of tomorrow before the cold front arrives with its own share of showery rains, and again, might even be a thunderstorm in one or two spots, or at the very least, maybe a rumble or two of thunder. So that's how it looks here in the Northeast. Now, let's take a look at what's going on out in Minnesota. And all of what you see here is indeed snow. And here's Minneapolis, I should say, Minneapolis, St. Paul, right in the middle there. And you can see all of the heavier snow that's lifting up to the north and east. Actually, it's lifting up and probably will swing around in a classic counterclockwise fashion. The low pressure system causing all of this is in the vicinity of Minneapolis. And so that's why you're seeing the heavy doses of snow, also the strong winds leading to, again, blizzard like conditions in some areas. If you're going to be heading over the river and through the woods to grandma's house, you better have a sleigh tomorrow if you live in parts of Minnesota and also in parts of Wisconsin as well, where they're probably going to be picking up, oh, maybe 1 foot or more, maybe a couple of feet in some spots. Let's go up to northern Michigan. This is the lower peninsula here, the upper peninsula here, and you can see again precipitation. This is probably snow as well that is falling across this area, and that will be the story for them overnight tonight in the northern end, I think near Sault Ste. Marie. This is taken from the radar in Gaylord, Michigan, which is located again in the lower peninsula, the northern part of the lower peninsula, if you will. Let's go down to Chicago. And Chicago, not seeing much of anything at this moment. They will probably see some snow. In fact, here comes some snow for them. Not blizzard conditions like they're seeing in Minnesota, but maybe enough to whiten the ground in parts of the Windy City on this night before Thanksgiving Eve, if you will. Now, let's go down to where Mr. Chiaffi is in northern Georgia. We'll look at Atlanta, Peachtree City. This is not snow, of course. This is too warm for that. But they are seeing some wet weather, some rounds of rain and shower activity. Maybe in here a flash of red crossing through Alabama, crossing through into Georgia, which may mean some convection, may mean some thundery weather for them. And Joe, doesn't look like you're seeing all that much. I see some flashes of yellow here, so maybe it's one of those situations where you're getting heavier duty showers coming in spurts, if you will.
Well, and sometimes the mountains block what's actually happening. And yeah, there's that cell that went through me. I mean, it's not raining hard now, but it was just before the show started. But you see the yellow cell there on
Yeah.
on on the north to the northeast in northeast Georgia, and then moved right along. But it's not. They're not dropping baseballs on my roof right now, so I'm I'm
I
I'm happy
want
about
to take
that.
one. I want to take one other look. This is in the Pacific Northwest. I know that they're getting some significant rain there, and there you see it. And I'm sure that here are the Cascade Mountains. They go up to like 8 or 9,000 feet, and I'm sure that as all of this moisture reaches the Cascades and is forced upward, they're probably going to be seeing some heavy snow across this area. But for the coastal plain of Washington, and especially down toward Portland as well, Portland, Oregon here, they're probably seeing a fair amount of rain coming in from the latest Pacific weather disturbance that is pushing eastward, and again is providing mostly rain, but also in the high terrain areas, some snow for them. This view is from Langley Hill, Washington. And I think this is the very first time on the Joe and Joe show that we've ever gone to the radar in Langley Hill, but we're doing it tonight. And as you can see, what else do you expect at this time of the year in Washington and Oregon except wet weather?
And you're right about what's going on in the higher terrain because I've got the Weather Service digital forecast through Friday evening. I always love looking out here because you get some really weird number. I mean, really big numbers sometimes. Just want to make sure I got this all set to pick up a few. There's only a couple of numbers that are showing up on the digital forecast, which now, of course, I did something to cause it all to disappear. Um, what I did, I don't know. Let's see, I'll try it this way. Um, okay, so, well, there's a 26 well to the northeast of Everett, Washington. There's nothing snow-wise close to the bigger cities of Seattle, Tacoma, and so on. But there's a lovely 60-inch bullseye. I don't know what place that is, but they're forecasting 60 inches between now and Friday evening. And I did see a statement from one of the Weather Service offices there. I'm not sure if it was Seattle or Spokane, talking about the fact that if you're driving in either direction, to make sure you leave early before the heavy snow starts. Otherwise, you're going to wind up getting stranded. I also want to point out that this is from the Storm Prediction Center. They issued this about an hour ago, a heavy snow discussion, and in the area that you see outlined in purple, kind of going right across Minnesota, but north of Minneapolis, forecasting snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. And you see in the darker greens on this still shot from this was at, let's see, this is valid until 11:30 p.m. tonight is the forecast. The actual image was issued just a little bit before, a little after 6 o'clock, 5:32 p.m. But at that time, on the still radar shot, you can see where the darker greens are. And of course, Joe showed you on the radar. The radars are pretty loaded and have continued to load up in this area. We are going to see precipitation here over the next 7 days through Tuesday night. We're looking at uh, anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to even areas of an inch and a half plus from coastal New Jersey northeastward into southeastern New England, and also some heavy precip in the Gulf states, uh, covering areas from eastern Tennessee into Georgia, west southwestward into East Texas. We're talking about anywhere from an inch and a half to, in some cases, as much as 3 inches of precipitation. Doesn't rain nonstop for 7 days, folks. These are individual systems. In fact, across the South, the weather's actually going to get nice, cold but nice, for several days through the Thanksgiving holiday and beyond. So, interesting, very interesting pattern. I was just, looking at the models today and looking at the European in particular, and actually the GFS was not that much different. Um, we seem to have just not gotten to this warm pattern that was supposed to occur for the second half of November. We've had more below average temperature days than above, and it is the overall scheme over the next 16 days. When you look at the upper air, is cold. I mean, that's really the only way to describe it. I mean, there'll be brief intervals in between when weather systems are going by where temperatures may jump up a little bit in one direction and then go back down afterward. But here's our upper trough in the east, and you can see the upper low that tonight is in Minnesota. It's a pretty wrapped up cutoff low that strengthens here, and this is going to create a strengthening storm crossing the Great Lakes and going into southeastern Canada. That, of course, is bringing up the southern moisture that we're seeing now. We get a cold front late tomorrow, which will usher in the colder air, and that's where we're going to be for Thursday and Friday. The trough just strengthens on Thanksgiving Day in the east, and the colder air gets all the way down into northern Florida. Eventually, the trough tries to pull out, but the flow from Canada is pretty dominant. There's another upper low dropping southward toward Hudson Bay, and another trough comes in. The first one pulls out, but you don't get a whole lot of ridging between that and the next one that drops in on Sunday, right in the middle of the U.S. And then that swings around. So we're going to get another cold front to come through on Sunday, and then some colder air behind that, and yet another trough for the middle part of next week. Now, this could prove a little interesting because we might have some colder air around, and a lot really depends on the energy here that's in the southern stream and how dominant is that northern part of the jet stream. Does it overwhelm it where you wind up with something on the flattish side and then you don't really see very much of anything out of it? Or, as the European suggests today, where you have a very distinct southern feature that lifts up northeastward into the flow and goes off the mid-Atlantic coast and then runs out to the northeast. And the other thing I would say is if you look at what's going on in the west with the ridge in the northern parts of the Gulf, in the Gulf of Alaska and going into western Canada, the East Pacific Oscillation is negative, and that spells cold for uh, the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states, and certainly the European model is playing into this with deep trough after deep trough coming into the east. Looks to me, Joe, like the first couple of weeks of December are going to be very much on the wintry side.
Yeah, it kind of harkens back to the to 1989 in my mind. If you remember, in 1989, what we had was some unseasonably mild air for a while. We even had a threat of severe weather, not just a threat, it actually happened over parts of New York State, upstate New York. And then right after that system moved on through, all of a sudden it got very cold. And in fact, we had a snowstorm on Thanksgiving morning in 1989. And that led us into a very cold month of December. And in fact, if those of you who can remember back that far, at least in my mind, December 1989 was one of the 5 coldest months in my lifetime. I could, I don't, I'm trying to remember other very
It,
cold months, but
it
that,
was.
this,
I think it was the second coldest December on record, but it was.
it was,
It didn't get. It
you know,
didn't produce a lot of snow though.
no, it didn't. And what I'm leading into is this, that while December 1989 was bitterly cold, very cold. And Joe was right. We didn't get much snow, partially because of the fact it was too cold. A lot of the storms passed again off to our south. We were talking about this last night. Too much of a good thing. You want the cold to make the snow, but sometimes if you have too much of it, it works against you. And that's exactly what happened in December of 1989. And once December of '89, I mean, it was New Year's Eve, and I remember we had fog and the temperatures were climbing, and we were led into the new year with unseasonably mild weather, which sadly for the winter weather lovers lasted for the rest of the winter. So a lot of people were getting all excited how cold it was in December of '89, but it turned out that January, February, and March were anything but cold, and we didn't have much in the way of snow that particular winter season. I'm not saying that's going to happen this time around because, as Joe just mentioned, it looks like as we move out of November and into December, we're going to be into a cold weather pattern. Whether or not we'll be able to maintain that with one, upper trough or system that'll continue to renew or invigorate the cold weather pattern into the winter season, or whether or not this is going to be a pattern that's going to only be maintained through December, and then all of a sudden we flip and we suddenly go into a milder pattern at the start of next year. Nobody can say, but we'll have to wait and see.
By the way,
Remember, says CC 19524 says Joe Ray was a known snow hater. You would not have said that about me in the '70s
a
and
known
'80s.
snow
And the
hater.
early
What is it? Wait a minute. Hold on. You're a known snow hater. What do you have your picture posted in a post office? I mean, for God's sake. Go on. I'm
it's just
sorry. I had to
it's
say
just
that.
I have mellowed. I was among really, and Joe will attest to this. I used to, if there was a chance for a major snowstorm in the tri-state area back in the '70s or '80s or even the early '90s, I would jump up and down like, you remember the New York Sack Exchange, the New York Jets, and he had Mark Gastineau. Whenever
Hmm.
he took down a quarterback, he would jump up and down, and you go, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was me with snow. But as you get older, you start to mellow some. And now here I am. I live, up here in Putnam County, and I have a long driveway, and I have a snow blower, and I don't particularly care to take that machine out very often. But when it snows, it snows. Uh, the one nice thing I like about snow now, Joe, and I'm sure the same would be for you if you were living up here, is you don't have to worry about getting the phone call the
Oh
day
yeah, no, no,
before.
no. Those days are long gone, and that's kind of brought it back to where I want to see it. I certainly want to see it. I don't have to drive in it. I don't have to work in it. I don't have to
Right.
give up my free time uh, to locked in a building with inside four walls. Not that it wasn't fun. I mean, it was great to be able to be on TV and all the rest of it. But now, of course, that's that part of it. We got our own deal. We can do whatever we want. So I'm okay if it's. I'd love it. I'd love to see a foot plus snow here.
I mean, normally when I was working at News 12, I would not have to be at work until 1:30 in the afternoon. But if I see if it started to snow and started to snow real hard at like 9 o'clock in the morning, And Renata will attest to this. I would be running around like a chicken without a head, you know, I got jumping into the shower, get in there. I got to get my suit on, everything else. Is there enough? Can I? Do I have to shovel to get the car out of the garage and get onto the roadway? I got to get on the roadways now because they're going to get bad and everything. And as soon as I would get in, let's say I left like at 9 o'clock. If I got in like at 10:30, immediately my news director or the executive producer would throw me outside. Put Rayo outside with the falling snow, and then there I was for most of the morning and into the early afternoon before my shift officially started. I don't need to deal with that anymore. I don't need to deal. I can look out the window and say, "Hey, Renata, look, it's snowing. Oh, and it's sticking too." Well, I'll wait until a few inches fall, and then I'll take my time and get the snowblower out, and no problem. And that was the other thing. I felt guilt because I'd have to go to work, and guess who got stuck sometimes with the really big snowfalls? Guess who got stuck having to use the snowblower with 8 and 10 and 12 inches of snow on our long driveway? Mrs. Rayo. And
And you
I'm
feel
so
guilty,
happy that
and you feel guilty about what?
I feel guilty that you have to do
A
that.
woman knows how to fix a chainsaw. You do not about the fact that that's some serious.
You
She
know,
might in a race in a race of snow. If I gave you each a snowblower, she'd beat you every time.
well, and to tell you the gosh darnest truth, I'm out there now blowing the snow or shoveling it. She comes out and she says, "Can't you do a better job? Give me that thing." And she takes the snow
Exactly.
away
So
from me.
why
And yeah,
misplaced guilt, Mister Rayo? Misplaced guilt. I want to go back to this upper air map just really quick because, by the way, Delaware weather guy, thank you for hitting the tip jar tonight. Uh, really appreciate it and a happy Thanksgiving. This is a great example, by the way, of what cross polar flow looks like. I mean, if you just sort of follow, I always say follow the flow. Our air, if this verifies, this would be around December 8th, December 9th, December 10th, right in that window. You're talking about air that's coming straight down from Siberia and the Arctic down into the eastern part of the United States. I mean, if this is correct, this is going to be a very very impressive cold blast. Now, it's not out to 384 hours; it's out to 330. It's still in the long range, but what I've noticed in the last 5 or 6 days that it's been like every single run takes us to this point. And the GFS is not that different. Now there'll be some adjustments, but to me, this is really impressive. I mean, you've got Atlantic ridging out at 40 west, going all the way up into Greenland. You've got a big upper high stretched across northwest Canada through Alaska and into the Bering Sea, and a wrapped up storm system in the Gulf of Alaska itself that's sort of cut off. I mean, this is a negative East Pacific oscillation signal if there ever was one. And as I've said many times, that to me, I'd rather have that than anything else in terms of the teleconnections. Thank you, Steve U5U5X, whatever that means. I'm sure it's interesting. But thanks very much for hitting the tip jar, and a happy Thanksgiving to you. So it's going to be it will be a very interesting uh, first part of December. Unlike the last couple of winters where we seem to be forever on wait, on hold,
right.
this one seems to be getting going underway. And by the way, Mrs. Hutch, Joe, just hit the tip jar.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, thank you,
Well,
Mrs. Hutch.
thank you, Mrs. Hutch. Yeah.
Yes, for a happy Thanksgiving. So here we
Well, see,
go. Here's
she
our
and she and she and Renata's great aunt are addicted to our show.
well.
I mean,
That's not
they cannot live now without you. You talk about must see TV. For them, this is must see TV.
well. I Hey, that's great. That's great. Here's the rain tonight is gone. Actually, most of it's done by before midnight in most places, and maybe a little after midnight in southeastern New England. It takes a little longer
Right.
for it to get out of the way. And then you've got the second arm because really the low in Wisconsin, it's two separate features that are staying unfazed. It would have been really interesting to see what would have happened if we got into a situation where these two systems actually phased with each other. But Here comes the second front. Maybe a couple of showers late in the day tomorrow into tomorrow evening. I see even a little dot of convection there in central New Jersey on the European. And of course, you see the heavy snow. Joe was talking about the wraparound earlier into Minnesota, and that's exactly what's going to happen overnight into Wednesday morning. And that gradient there in Wisconsin and in Michigan is exceptionally tight. I mean, the temperatures aren't that cold. They're basically upper 20s to near 30, but you got the snow and you're going to get the wind blowing it all over the place, hence the blizzard warning. And of course, as it moves into eastern Canada and the upper air feature continues to strengthen, you see the gradual chilling down of the atmosphere in western New York, north central New York, and northwest Pennsylvania, and we start to break out into heavy snow lake effect snow bands during Thursday afternoon, lasting into Friday morning. I wouldn't be shocked if a flurry, one of those bands breaks away and makes it southeastward and makes a few flurries. And also notice that the gradient is somewhat tight on Thursday. It gets very tight Thursday night and Friday. That'll be the windiest part of all of this. Wouldn't be surprised if we wind up with wind advisories. And then over the weekend, as we get more energy coming in, here's a low that drops down from the northern Rockies into the plains. Snow in Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan. That low tracks to the lower lakes. The trailing cold front reaches the coast with some rain developing Sunday afternoon into Sunday night, early Monday morning. And then once that's gone, we've got another shot of colder air. And this is where we'll keep an eye, see what the models do with this southern energy. The old front kind of stalls out through the Gulf states. You get a wave that develops on it, and you can see that the European has a northern boundary of some snow that gets up into the Hudson Valley and southern New England and back through northern New Jersey and Pennsylvania. It's got a fairly wrapped up low off the North Carolina coast before it goes out to the east. And then we've got colder air coming in after that, and then another sort of warm front, cold front situation, and then the big dump, if the models are correct, would be sometime around the 8th, ninth, or 10th, or all 3 days. And that's when we have very cold air coming into the eastern part of the United States. So if you were looking for winter weather, folks, to get going early, you're about to see it, I think, the way the models are shaping up these days. So let me bring us back full screen here. Just give me a second as I maneuver all this technical stuff that I got to do. So here we go. I think I have Briller Jeopardy.
And by the way, I did change the name from owner to you know who. So
Right.
wait a minute, it should be, well, when I'm pointing correctly. It's actually over here.
Oh, I see. Well, you're good. There you go, Joe Rayo. All right.
Yes.
Hold on. I just got to write this message. One of my snow removal guys is doing some fall cleanups and he wanted to know what the weather is like for tomorrow. So I'm just messaging him back when there could be a shower or two. Sorry to interrupt the podcast, but we're sort of, working on the fly here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. There you go. Um, okay, let me find out. Let me find Mr. Mr. Briller's numbers here. Ooh, very interesting. Okay, so we've been doing greatest 24-hour snowfalls and going state by state, and we're starting tonight at this now we're up to the O's through the S's. And tonight, Joe, we begin with Oregon, the greatest 24-hour snowfall in Oregon. Hmm.
Well, this isn't fair in a way because in Oregon now,
Yes,
I mean the Cascade Mountains are there.
I know.
So
Take a
I mean it's
guess.
not. Uh, I'm going to go crazy, as Bob Ross, the painter, sometimes says. Let's get crazy. How about 85 inches?
It's a high number, but it's not quite that high. But you know what? I'm not going to fool around with the numbers because Rich Rothmansky he said 59. It's actually 60. I mean, that is such a, this guy knows he gets a lot of these things on the nose. He really knows his weather, his climo. And you should be proud of that, Rich. We're proud of you. 60, Joe, in Malheur County in Oregon, 60 inches.
Wow.
Now, the next one is one of my favorite states, is Pennsylvania.
Well, Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania.
I'm going to say, I'll, well, again, the northwestern Pennsylvania could be subjected to lake effect, but I will say 35.
That's a good guess. It's not high enough, but it's not a bad guess at all. I'm seeing a few people kind of dancing around the number. Frank R at 42 on the top side, and Marky Deed 48 is very close at 41. So you know where I'm going with this. If it's not 42 and it's not 41, it's
If it's not 42 and it's not 41, it's either 40 or 43.
correct. And Rich Rothmansky did it again. Give the man a bell ring. And so
Why
did
not?
Owen at 40.
Ring a ding a ding a ding a ding. Yes.
Okay, the next one is South Carolina.
Oh well, South Carolina. South Carolina could get a pretty. I mean, near the coastal plain. I'll bet you they've had in their history they probably have had a major storm where there's dumped something like I'm going to go with 18 inches. And in
Okay,
fact,
don't
wait a
forget
minute,
South
wait a
Carolina.
minute. Don't forget the mountains. Yeah,
I was just going to say Northwest South Carolina. I'm
yeah.
in that mountain chain there. So yeah. So 18 is your number.
Um, I'd like to. All right, I'm going to go. I'll go with like 24.
You hit it on the nose, Joe. And Mike Bonsai Nursery, I assume that's Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, said 23, and so did Mrs. Hutch. So they get honorable mentions, as does Frank R. So 24 is the number,
Hey,
24.
hey,
And
there
that
you
was
go.
in it. That was in Rimini, South Carolina. I'm going to do a quick Google search to see where exactly that is. If I had to guess, it's probably in the mountains. But let me take a look. Rimini, South Carolina. Uh, well, there's a website here that says the 10 best things to do in Rimini. Okay. It's not actually, Joe, Rimini, South Carolina it's not in the northwestern part of the state in the mountains. It's not on the coast either. It's
It's in
just
the middle.
And it's not in the middle. It's on the south side of the middle. It's actually it's northwest of the I-95.
Hmm.
So I-95 is pretty far inland in South Carolina relative to the coast. I mean, it's nowhere near Myrtle Beach or Charleston or anything like that. I mean, relatively speaking. Um, but it's closer to. It's probably almost, but not quite equidistant between Columbia and Charleston. Okay, it's probably closer to Columbia, but it's to the southeast of Columbia, which is interesting. Okay, next is South Dakota. And last one for tonight, South Dakota.
My, I'll say 36.
Um, well, you were smart to go with a big number, but you know what? Not big enough. Not big enough. Bobby Livingworth with double nickels and Carol DeCara with double nickels. Not that far off. A little too high, not that far off. See if anybody's got it here. 50. Marky D, 48. At 53, you're almost there. Oh, you got to ring the bell for Mrs. Hutch. She did good tonight. 52.
Yeah.
52.
Wow.
Same for CWTR Shark at 52. And a few of you hit 53. which you get honorable mentions. And there you go. Are you home for
Well,
Thanksgiving?
before we tune out tonight, let me issue my annual special Thanksgiving forecast. And this forecast becomes valid as of Thursday morning. First of all, we're issuing an well, I am issuing an heat wave warning for late Thursday afternoon and a bellyache advisory for Thursday night. And on Thursday, which of course is Thanksgiving Day, I'm calling for considerable amounts of turkey developing by afternoon, an average temperature between 350 and 400 degrees. There'll be a heavy accumulation of cranberry sauce and stuffing, likely accompanying the turkey by late in the day. The probability of football games will rise to 100% by afternoon. Then Thursday night, residual sweet and mashed potatoes, along with a flood of gravy, especially in poor drainage areas. Probability of football games will remain at 100%, diminishing to near zero toward midnight. Black Friday. Black Friday, we're calling for a long frontal line expected to stall in the vicinity of most department stores and shopping centers. There's still a good chance, by the way, on Black Friday of lingering turkey or isolated stuffing, and the probability of football again will increase to 100% by late afternoon. For the weekend, Saturday, residual turkey accompanied by drifting areas of mayonnaise in some spots. And the long range outlook for Sunday, as everybody heads home, still a chance of leftover turkey, accompanied once again by midday of an increasing risk of football. And on behalf of Joe and this Joe, we want to wish all of you on the chat board, all of you lurkers, and all of you who happen to watch, if not right at this moment that I'm saying these words, but maybe later tonight or even tomorrow, we want to wish all of you a very happy and safe Thanksgiving weekend. Joe?
Absolutely. My sentiments exactly. I have my turkey right now in it's not a brine, but it's in a bath of red wine, pomegranate juice, and sage and rosemary, and it's soaking in it. You know, it's like Madge with Palmolive dishwashing liquid. It's Palmolive. So it's sitting in the refrigerator, soaking in it, and it's going tomorrow. I am going to take it out of its bath. It'll be all red from soaking up all that wine and pomegranate juice, and then I'm going to stuff it, make sure I season it, do all the rest of it, and then let it sit in the fridge until Thursday morning, and then in it goes. So I got my grandkids coming over on Thursday, so it should be a really fun day, and I'm looking forward to it. David Fuller, thank you for hitting the tip jar tonight, and a happy Thanksgiving to you and to your family. And I also want to just kind of say, I just also want to add again, thanks to Steve U5U5X, Mrs. Hutch, and for also hitting Super Chat tonight. It's really appreciated. And we appreciate your support, uh, however you guys decide to give it, be it the tip jar or be it through shopping on Amazon or whatever.
We're hitting the like button.
Every little bit helps. And Quiet John, Joe, just hit the tip jar too. Thank you, Quiet John. Happy Thanksgiving uh, to you. You're very generous. If you were around, I'd give you big hugs to Quiet John.
I also want to say that Mrs. Rayo, and this is the honest to God truth, Mrs. Rayo has already uh, taken care of the first turkey. She did the first turkey tonight.
She killed it?
She
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 cut its
she
head
cooked the
off?
tur- she cooked the turkey tonight,
Hmm.
and she's in probably right as I speak to you now. She's in the process of cutting it up. She'll put it in this big bowl, put it in the refrigerator, and then pull out the second turkey, which will be ready to go on Thanksgiving Thursday. So I remember
So
I don't remember. I think it was for Cool Whip uh, that everybody was going to grandma's house and here's grandma cooking up a storm or whatever, and the commercial ended with grandma turning to somebody and say, George, you bring in the first turkey.
Yeah,
and like the guy go, what?
yeah, yeah. So she makes two turkeys.
Well, this year, yeah, she's got she's making two turkeys. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's a lot of turkey.
Yep. I guess so.
A lot of turkey. I hope you have a lot of people to eat it.
We're expecting a dozen people at least,
Oh, that'll work.
and that of course includes our grandson. In fact, I reminded Renata just the other day. I said, "You realize now the theme of Thanksgiving is everybody heads to Grandma's house, and indeed, your grandma."
Yes, exactly. Oh, this will be fun. And I always like Thanksgiving because of the fact that you just all you I'm a real stickler for this because I'm in a family where they don't understand the concept of on time. And this used to really drive me crazy because I always worked Thanksgiving Day, particularly when I worked at Pix. But I didn't have to be there till like 6 or 7 o'clock, so I could have the whole day. But it was important that if you were hosting Thanksgiving to be on time. Um, but why am I now? I've forgotten the reason why I mentioned this.
Being on
Oh, I
time.
just was about to say I'm having these moments lately. I just wanted to say from the standpoint of Thanksgiving, all you have to do is just show up and eat. I mean, that's really all you have to do. It's not like you really have to. It's not like Christmas where you're going crazy buying gifts and to overdrive, and some people go over the top. You just need to get to wherever you're going, or if you've got people coming to your house, they just come. It's to come and eat. There's no strings attached. That's the beauty of it. It's the one holiday that we have really where there's no strings attached. You just you come over, you spend time with your friends and family, and you share a big beautiful meal. I mean, what's better than that?
No, it's not. Nothing is better than that. That's the way I think of all of the holidays, the most important is Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is the family holiday.
Right, it really is.
It
It really
is.
is. So anyway, Joe, have a happy Thanksgiving. Everybody on the chat board and watching in the background, if you're still there, have happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you back on Sunday at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Nighty night.
Good night, folks. Happy Thanksgiving.